Hello everyone. On behalf of PBL Group 2, Evo and myself, Jeanette, would like to present our exploration and response to the scenario in Topic 2 on open learning. There are two scenarios given for Topic 2. After some discussion, our team decided to focus on the first scenario. In our very first meeting, we focused on the first step in the fish process flow, where we actually get the members to consider the scenario, to list down what they actually know and the prior knowledge that they might have about the scenario. Thereafter, we actually examine possible questions to be investigated. As you can see here, there were many comments and feedback given by many of our members. We also have comments and feedback on ideas that the members agreed with and would like to further explore. After the very first meeting, we actually came up with the focus questions that we like to explore further in relation to the scenario. So some of the focus questions are: what does it mean to be open? Why should I be open? How open do I want to be? And how can educators be informed about open resources? So what does it mean to be open? Dr. David Wiley posted a blog in 2009 where he wrote about what he observed as a misconception or confusion on the interwebs about the meaning of the term open. For instance, an example that relates to this misconception was people linking to copyrighted videos posted illegally in YouTube as examples of OERs. 8 years forward, there is still a considerable lack of clarity concerning the breadth and the depth of openness in education. And indeed, there has been some rather pragmatic solutions to define openness. Widely spread are the 4 R's by Wiley to express core dimensions of open content. The 4 R's framework describes the 4 most important rights. They are reuse, which is the right to reuse the content in its unaltered verbatim form; revise, the right to adapt, adjust, modify, or alter the content itself; remixed, the right to combine the original or revised content with other content to create something new; and redistribute, the right to make and share copies of the original content, your revisions, or your remixes with others. One of the focus questions that many of our members would like to explore further is what do I gain to be open, and why should I be open? We found a quote by Wiley that we find is very insightful. The quote states that education is a matter of sharing, and the open educational resources approach is designed specifically to enable extremely efficient and affordable sharing. So it seems like there are many advantages to open education and being open about the resources that we developed for ourselves and for the use of the broader network. However, the practice of openness is not so simple. In a paper titled "On the Role of Openness in Education: A Historical Reconstruction," Peter and Delman discussed that openness is not just a technological phenomenon, but also a social, cultural, and economic phenomenon, not bound by institutional or national boundaries. It highlights the danger of emphasizing one aspect of openness and how unrestricted practice can quickly and repeatedly become institutionalized. With this, our team felt that it is needed for us to look into the aspect of openness in education in a more holistic manner. In order to examine this in a more holistic manner, our team adopted the SWOT analysis. Some of the strengths for open educational resources is that we avoid reinventing the wheel. Content production time is minimized for OER and user, and content production is low cost or even no cost for OER. There is a flexible It also facilitates flexible learning, where the author can immediately modify the content and continue to improve after getting feedback from the learners. There is accessibility to knowledge, where high access to knowledge and one can strengthen one's own expertise through global feedback as well as strengthen the expertise of others. There is opportunity to collaborate and transition of information is also smoother. People can use the information and improve on the information. In fact, information is anytime, anywhere, and can be viewed repeatedly. Last but not least, we can also build and share expertise. It can provide thought leadership and best-in-class status to authors and organizations. OER developers provided opportunities for reflective practice. Learners can observe multi-specialist, multi-perspective expertise in exploring issues in their particular field, and content expertise can be standardized in situations where human resources need further capacity building. After looking at the strength, we also need to look at the possible weakness. One of the weakness is that it's difficult to select and control. Different quality in materials are available online. It is difficult to educate the user to be critical in the selection. There is also high dropout and low retention or commitment using MOOCs, and using open web is difficult to track down. There's a lack of information or access. In terms of lack of comprehensive knowledge of intellectual property and online copyright laws in different countries. OER requires access to internet, which is challenging on technologically underserved areas. It is also time consuming. The person needs to feel confident first before starting. Content can also be outdated easily. It needs constant update, and research needs to be conducted to evaluate learning results. There is lack of resources, where lack of central managing body may create completion issues, and it may create production inefficiencies, such as too many resources in business and not enough resources in science.
Opportunities. Wider networks. Openness in education enables access to larger, even worldwide networks. This means better possibilities to find and expand useful networks for you professionally, wider sharing of ideas and resources, and wider collaboration. Expertise and knowledge. Getting access to wider networks helps you improve your own knowledge. For example, finding mentors and obtain feedback from colleagues all around the world. It gives you opportunities to collaborate with other developers and authors. Furthermore, authors have access to a wider audience for their work, and best practices can be shared worldwide. It also gives you larger possibilities to function as an expert, opportunities to add quality resources to the body of knowledge in which one is a subject matter expert. Doing so, you can build a sharing and collaborative culture. Openness can also have an impact on your available time resources for education. By sharing material and using material already legally available online, the person can use the time spared interacting with the students. Functioning tools such as alternative compensation schemes, Creative Commons, and community service in schools help to provide labor for open education resources. Creative Commons provide licensing tools, which makes it easy to give permission without being asked for it all the time. Creative Commons help reaching more people. Alternative compensation schemes, for example PayPal, Gift, Patreon, YouTube ads, etc., can provide adequate interest for authors to sustain OER development update. And finally, but not least, openness in education gives a possibility to increase equality amongst people who otherwise perhaps don't have access to education, for example, because lack of funding. Threats. People issues. The combination of naive and unenlightened users and destructive users and trolls isn't a good one. There will also be people with bad intentions out there, and you need to know where the so-called less nice neighborhoods are so you can stay clear of them. You will need to keep asking yourself when looking for networks, is this my community or not? As Teresa McKinnon mentioned in a webinar. Technology issues. Technology turns against itself with too many challenges, restrictions, and setbacks. Who haven't struggled with 1,000 different passwords, connections not working, and such? Disruptive changes in technology may make some content inaccessible or render earlier work useless. Think, for example, back to days when we used to record work on tapes and VHS videos. Legal issues, IP. Educators may contravene institutional IP agreements by using material created while in the employ of such an institution in their own personal open learning environments and networks. Another problem is inability to enforce laws relating to IP and to track the use of one's material. Personal liability aspects may become relevant if material is applied and results in undesired outcomes. Material used without permission required and used out of context. Sustainability issues. Sustainability of open education resources over time can turn out to be a threat. Also, increases in costs may affect willingness to maintain and contribute to open education. And to close the circle, we could become too comfortable with what we have achieved and stop to develop further when we don't feel the need to reinvent the wheel, as was mentioned in the strengths. So, finally, as a conclusion, our advice both to the person described in the scenario and to ourselves. When you are struggling with issues about openness in and sharing of open education resources, remember to try to act in a responsible way. Think about benefits and opportunities which are presented in the SWOT, but also challenges which in our work are described as weaknesses and threats. When you share your own material, be clear how you want people to use it. And when using other people's material, remember to give credit to the creator of the content. Remember to check out how the content is licensed. That can of course not always be so easy. Therefore, our best tip is that you especially try to remember the letter combination CC, Creative Commons, which helps you to stay on right track and gives you better certainty that you are allowed to use the material without copyright issues. Also remember to use CC search when searching for material. That helps you to get to the right sources. Good luck!